Hello, I'm Candace, and with me is Arzu. Hey, Arzu.
Hello.
Okay, and we like looking back about strange things from our childhood. And I brought up something that I thought was common knowledge that everyone knew about, and that is fairy tale theater by Shelley Duvall. And Arzu had no point of reference to this,
I'd
right?
never heard of this before.
Okay, so this actually came out before our time. It started in 1982, film before then, obviously. And the reason I know about it as a 90s kid is that these were all released on VHS. So at the library, we could borrow VHSs, and it's like, oh, cool. Here's Beauty and the Beast, starring Susan Sarandon. Let me back up a little bit just to give you a little bit of history about the fairy tale theater. I hope we can do more of these because I think, like, you know what? I would like your reaction to
Oh
some of
my
these.
god. There's one that has Carrie Fisher in it. We could watch that.
Yes, Thumbelina, because she's so short and cute. But anyway, okay, so Shelley Duvall is working on Popeye. If you don't know, Shelley Duvall was in The Shining. She was tortured by both Jack and also Stanley Kubrick. Yay,
Love being a
women.
woman in Hollywood.
Yay. Anyway, so she was working on Popeyes with Robin Williams, which was a big flop, but I don't know. I've never seen it. We should watch it
I
someday.
haven't seen it either.
I didn't even realize it was a thing. She was reading a fairy tale book, and she was like, hey, Robin, would you want to be like the frog prince if I made this thing? And he's like, that sounds like a really great idea. She has really good relationships with a lot of people in Hollywood. So she got this made, produced, shown on Showtime, but all 26 regular episodes were out on VHS by October 1985. So just to give you a little bit of information of the type of stars who are in this, like we mentioned, Susan Sarandon as Beauty and the Beast, Robin Williams as a frog prince.
Carrie
Uh,
Fisher is Thumbelina.
Yes, Jennifer Beals from Flashdance as Cinderella. Like, there's, like, legit stars in these, and also crazy directors, like Francis Ford Coppola. He directed Rip Van Winkle, and
Okay.
that starred Harry Dean Stanton, and Aladdin was directed by Tim Burton, with the genie as James Earl Jones.
We need to watch these. We need to do a whole series.
Yeah,
But
and
what are we talking about today?
oh,
Because
it's
it
it's
is Mermaid.
Mermaid. It's Mermaid. Because we are in our mermaid era right now.
Very
Yeah.
excited for the live action Little Mermaid.
We are so hyped. This month in May, focusing on our favorite, possibly fictional creature. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We're talking about the fairy tale theater Little Mermaid, starring Pam Dawber as Pearl, the Little Mermaid, who is from Mork and Mindy.
Mindy from Mork and Mindy.
What did I say? Wait, what did I say?
You said she's from Mork and Mindy, but she's Mindy.
Yeah,
Mm,
she's Mindy. And
yeah.
Mork was Robin Williams, who was in the very first episode of this. And Little Mermaid was actually one of the last. And I'm thinking it's because of the ending and also the water.
Yeah, they needed the budget. But you're underselling this because yes, she stars, but the prince, what's his name? Andrew? Prince
I think
Andrew is Treat Williams, and Princess, oh my god,
Amelia.
Amelia, who he married, is Helen Mirren.
Dame Helen Mirren.
Dame Helen Mi I'm looking at her because there's opening credit, but I will admit I zoned out a little, so I didn't really catch all the name. So, I'm looking at this woman, I'm going, "She looks like Helen Mirren." This, wannabe Helen Mirren doing TV specials. This girl who thinks she's Helen Mirren. So it actually was Helen Mirren. My apologies to Helen Mirren for doubting
This
her.
is my first introduction to Helen Mirren
I just
as a child.
I get that this was the '80s, and while she is a stage actor, she wasn't like Helen Mirren in the '80s. She was
Okay,
just
but to be fair, there were a lot of big name actors in this.
I know, but I
Like I
just
said, Jennifer Bills at the time was a big deal. Billy Crystal was in The Three Little Pigs with Jeff Goldblum as the
oh
wolf.
god. No, we need to watch all of these. I'm
Okay,
obsessed.
I'm so excited. Vanessa Redgrave played the evil queen. Christopher Lee is in this too.
Christopher Lee will do anything.
That's true.
I'm gonna be real.
Paul Rubens as Pinocchio.
Okay, let's talk Little Mermaid.
Yes, listen, we could just go into this huge deep
Just
dive.
just
Which, speaking of
deep dive,
dive,
get it? Let's dive
going on
into
the
The Little
water,
Mermaid.
which years before the Disney cartoon, I think was even decided, like, even created because everything was out by 1985.
Yeah, so this predates that,
Yeah.
which means it's the Hans Christian Andersen version of the story, aka the sad one.
As a child who was only familiar with The Little Mermaid by Disney, I had a rude awakening with this one.
Yeah,
Because if you don't know, the original Hans Christian Andersen, there's
story.
like some really dark details. When she gets legs, she doesn't only give up her voice, every step she takes feels like 1,000 knives on her feet. And if she does not get the prince to love her and he marries someone else, she turns into literal sea foam.
But she doesn't have like a 3-day limit. She has an indeterminate amount of time. She can take as long as
Yes.
she likes, but he has to marry her. Kissing her is not enough
Yeah. Because he does kiss her.
because he does kiss her.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more
Yeah,
about
we'll get
that.
there. Kissing her is not enough. He has to marry her. Doesn't matter how long it takes. It still feels like it only takes 3 days though.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. Okay, so it opens up and it's King Neptune narrating. King Neptune, this time being her father. And when they all come of age, the mermaids, they get to go above the sea. They have no point of reference. It's not forbidden like in the Disney version.
I do like in this one, two of her sisters come to explain what they saw up there before she gets to go. And one of them's like, I saw a human once. It wasn't anything special. Yeah, his skin was all white and his eyes were open like he wasn't really seeing. And he was like just floating face down in the water. And hers is like, he was dead. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so disturbing.
Let's talk about the special effects of the
Oh,
underwater,
okay. So
please.
there's two things that you need to know. So the first one is when they want to do like a panning shot of like somebody traveling underwater, it's like obviously on a green screen, somebody just bobbing around on this larger than life. Like, fine, it's the 80s and this was made for TV. Okay. Now they do this thing when they're like just sitting in their little grotto and chatting where they want to make it look like because you're underwater, your hair is floating in the water, which like I understand. That's why Ariel's hair always looks so voluminous. But they didn't think to maybe just leave it. They were determined to do this hair moving underwater effect. So what they've done essentially is it looks like they've set up fans
Yeah.
behind the actresses and it's blowing their hair straight up and waving around a little because it's wind. So sometimes it gets in their face. Not all of their hair is moving. So it's just the back of their hair. It's so funny.
Also, it's green screen, which, especially back then with a chroma key, having hair strands, it's so hard to do.
With not helping, it was so funny. And it undermines the seriousness of what they're talking about because all you're looking at is the hair. And I know it was the 80s, but I can't help but feel like even if you were in the 80s watching this on TV for the first time, that this looks super goofy.
Not to 5-year-old Candace in the 90s.
Really? Because I would have laughed.
As a 5-year-old?
Yeah. But I will give them credit where it's due. When she goes to see the sea witch, I think they realized that the hair was goofy and chose not to do that there.
I figured she was, like, in this, like, cave that wasn't quite underwater by then.
But she's still swimming.
Yeah, and I guess she's just sitting, like, how did she get there?
Yeah, like, which is why, like, I know they said that the witch lives in this realm between the sea and the sky, which means, like, in that thin line of water, like, when you put your camera halfway underwater, that thin
Yeah.
little line, that's where the witch lived, but they opted not to do the hair effect,
Yeah.
which was a smart decision.
So it's very interesting, like, in interpretations, the sea witch is, like, the main antagonist. This time, like, the sea witch is like, "Don't do it.
I'll
Don't."
do it if you want, but it's a bad idea.
She's like, "No, don't throw away your life for a man. Don't do it." And she's like,
I was laughing when I heard that because I'm like, "Did Candace and Hope write that?" It's just like, that sounds like something you would have said, like, why would you throw your life away for a man?
"That's probably where I got it from."
Honestly, it probably is.
It embedded in my mind. I watched this a lot because it was a mermaid. She's neutral, the sea witch. She's like,
Yeah.
everything comes with a price. You can't get something for nothing, which is a very magic thing in general. She explains everything to her. And still Pearl, who's the little mermaid, is like, "I'm good. Let's do it."
I do think it's interesting though, now that I think about it, because I'm just so used to seeing the witch as the antagonist. There is no antagonist. Not really.
Not really, no.
Like the witch sets her up to with this consequence of you will either marry the prince or die, essentially. And then when her sisters save her, they're like, sure, she can come back, but she has to kill the prince. Like, but these are just the rules of her magic. She's not
Yeah,
like doing it maliciously.
yeah, like Ursula sending her goons little
Yeah.
things to interrupt a kiss.
Or sending herself to like
Yeah,
woo the prince. It's just terrible luck.
yeah, yeah. So she saves Treat Williams, Prince Andrew.
I just treat Williams because I can't
Yeah, I
with Prince
can't either.
Andrew.
He's so delirious. He kisses her, which that's what you do, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been delirious and just kissed people.
Okay,
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Treat Williams on the beach, Helen Mirren sees him. She happens to be a princess. He's a prince. Apparently, their parents had been wanting them to get together for a while because kingdoms. And anyway, Pearl is like, "Hey, I got legs now." She's just on the beach, same place that Treat Williams was. The princess and prince take her in.
And they're not, like, particularly Amelia gets a little jealous
Yeah,
when she feels like Treat Williams is making eyes at Pearl, but, like, I think, like, it's understandable. She's betrothed to him, that's what their parents want, and she's like, "I don't know who this girl is, but, like, this is the plan for our life," and
they aren't betrothed yet.
I know, but their parents, like, want them to be, so I feel
Yeah,
like especially for her, in her head, it's a done deal.
yeah. Like it's very weird. Like the prince is like showing her what breakfast is, and like they get like if a maid didn't come in at a certain point, they would have been making out.
I yeah.
Please.
There's something too about the aesthetic of this show, like the over the top dresses and the really opulent, really crowded gilt like rooms that's so cozy, like because it's so nostalgic. Like there's no way something would look this over the top and cheesy. Oh.
Yeah. And you have to give them credit. Like they shot on an actual beach.
Yeah.
They there's scenes where the mermaids are out of the water or in the water, so they must have been like in a tank of some kind.
Oh yeah, like credit where it's due. When they filmed, they did the best they could.
And okay, Amelia's like, "Hey, okay, we're engaged now. You got to go talk to the Little Mermaid, Pearl, because she's obviously in love with you, idiot."
He's like, well,
Huh?
he's a man.
Yeah. Okay. So he goes to talk to her, and they end up making out.
Because he's a man.
And then she just finds out, like, "Oh, okay. Not only is the love of my life marrying someone else, but I am Seafoam. Yay!"
But she's not Seafoam, she gets to turn into a spirit of the air
Yes,
because
because
she's so pure.
yeah, because her sisters gave up their hair, which they act like is a big deal. I'm like, "It's just her hair. I've given to Phillips like 3 times. Calm down." Gives her hair for her to the sea witch, and they're like, "Okay, we got this knife. If you murder him, you get to come back home." Pearl does go to that room, and she's like, "I got this knife." And then she's like, "No, JK."
But he should know, she should tell him that she did think about it.
Yeah,
He should know how lucky he is.
yeah. So, yeah, she becomes not Seafoam, but a spirit, and she protects over the royal couple.
I feel like I'm gonna make a controversial opinion here.
Oh, no.
I feel like this is worse. Not in that it's sad, but in the cartoon, she is obsessed with the human world as a concept. She
Yeah,
wants to go to this world as a concept. And Eric is like, "Oh, the human world also comes with guys who are a total snack."
plus.
This is a plus. It's not the whole reason for her going, it's just the catalyst for her going.
Yeah.
So she goes, and the question is like, does she get to stay in this world she loves or go save her family? And she opts to save her family and then winds up getting the guy anyway. Whereas like her whole thing through this, like fighting Vanessa and all of that was like self-determination. She wanted a thing and she fought to have the thing. Whereas this, she wanted the thing. She wanted the guy, doesn't get the guy, and chooses to love and support his new relationship from the afterlife. Anyway, I'm like, you genuinely got nothing out of any of this because there wasn't like a particular desire to go to the human world beyond curiosity because your sisters mentioned it once. Like,
She wanted a human child as a pet.
she wanted a human child as a pet. Like, that was it. She didn't even get that. She didn't get anything she wanted and felt the need to be virtuous and just protect this couple anyway. And I'm like, I get this moral about being like a good and virtuous and selfless person. But I think I'm at that point in life where I'm like, be a little selfish.
Yeah, she
You
has a
didn't get
spin-off
anything.
after, like, watching The Couple.
Like, I must be a little shellfish. And I'm like, that's a bad joke.
No, I'm keeping it in.
Be a little shellfish,
There we go.
Pearl. It's the archetype of like the good, godly woman who like gives
Up
everything of
everything.
herself for everybody else. And I get that's where that comes from. But I think that's worse than the 16-year-old who decided she wants the human world and also wants that
Mm.
prince.
No, really glad Disney changed it.
Yeah, like beyond the idea of the happy ever after, just like she's your heroine. She should win at the end of the day. She's more drive. She has more
Yeah,
like
she has
more determination to get what she wants.
yeah, Pearl, everything just, like, after she gets her legs, it's like,
Everything
it
happens
just
to
happens to her, yeah.
yeah, whereas like say what you will about Ariel's choices, but like she makes them happen.
Okay, something I didn't notice as a child is Amelia says, like, "Oh, usually couples are 2 people, not 3," or something like that, because Pearl is very much attached to the 2 of them. And
Couple.
yeah, exactly, I was like, "Maybe something else is going on here," because she asks Treat Williams, like, "What's gonna happen once we're married?" And he's like, "We'll just bring her with us."
This man really thought he could have his cake and eat it too. Like
Best of both worlds. Arzu's in a mood. Okay. Oh, something else.
Arzu is on God knows how many months of online dating and in a mood right now.
There was something also I didn't really notice the other time is like when her sister explaining the human world and just like the humans think we're sirens. And she's like, "Ugh, sirens," which it sounds like there's family drama between the two because like they're like cousins or something. Which I
Everybody
just,
was like, Pearl, that's racist.
yeah. It was just, I just thought that was hilarious. Like, oh,
That is very
they
funny.
get us confused with sirens. Ew, gross.
Gross. I hate sirens. The worst.
But yeah,
Yeah.
do you see why little Candace might have found this enjoyable?
I the thing is, I feel like if little Arzu had this on VHS, like this series, she probably would have watched, like maybe not this one, because I remember reading the real story when I was like 6, it freaked me out. But like I probably would have watched some of these on a loop if I had them.
I like the Beauty and the Beast one. It's very much the French movie, the one that's
The
like,
Jean Cocteau one.
yeah, it's very much inspired by that one. So yeah,
Ooh.
could be a series. Maybe once a month we watch one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll only take us 2 years to get through them all.
one or two. We want to know: did you watch this as a kid, or have you watched it as an adult? They are all on YouTube. Showtime does not care. But yeah,
I don't
that's
yeah.
yeah, it was great. The library always had one of these, and we could just borrow it and play it on a VHS. Had a great time. These also played on Disney Channel too. So I think children at the time would have watched them on that, even though some of these can be a little racy.
Ooh.
Which the Sleeping Beauty parents have to literally be told by a fairy how to make a baby. On
On
that
that
note,
note,
yeah, comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy Mermaid.